'Cause I'm dreaming of you tonight.
It's been 25 years since the release of Dreaming of You by Selena Quintanilla Perez, and her legacy continues. The late superstar's fifth studio album was released on July 18, 1995, just 3 months after her tragic death. Dreaming of You was an instant success, going to #1 on the Billboard's Top 200 chart, the first predominantly Spanish-language album to do so. E! News spoke exclusively to Selena's husband, Chris Perez, about how important it was for Selena to make the record, which was slated to be her first English crossover album.
Had been like the dream, from the very beginning, was to be able to make a mainstream crossover English album, right? Because she was a huge fan of artists like Janet Jackson. And I always knew that I was going to be there backing her up. So I was just really excited about it. And then also the family wasn't really going to have much to do with it, but then ended up having a lot to do with it because she had passed and we needed to find material to put on the record, so we had gone in and redone a few of the songs that we had done in the past with her.
The guitarist also explains that the superstar was a little nervous to make the album.
I'll tell you a story specifically. One time we were on the road touring with Los Dinos, and I had gone in the bus to check on her. And when I walked into the bunk area, I was really preoccupied. And I stopped and I sat on the floor and I'm talking to her. I'm like, "What's up? What's going on?" And she was like, "Nothing." And then, I asked her, I'm like, "Look, I know there's something going on." I said, and she said she was thinking about the mainstream album. And I'm like, "Well, what about it?" And she says, "Well, just, because we had already started hearing some of the material, and basically she was worried that her family wasn't gonna be going on tour to promote that album and be on stage backing her up like she was so used to." And I remember, and I said this, I said, "So you mean to tell me if you would have thought about that before any of this started, you wouldn't do this, the mainstream album?" And she goes, "No." That's how connected to her family that she was, and the guys in the band, now had it happened, she would have gone on the road and, she would have made the best of it and she would have kicked ass and would have been great, just like she was on any other day out there on the road.
Regardless of the nerves, Selena would go on to record several songs for the album, and Chris shares his favorite.
I'd probably say God's Child, the one she did with David Byrne. I really liked it. I like them all, but if I had to pick one, I'd go with that one, God's Child.
Byrne tells E! News what it was like to have Selena on the song, saying, quote, "The tape came back with her vocal on it and I was knocked out. It lifted the song to another level. I was thrilled." Once the album was released, Dreaming of You, Tu Solo Tu, and I Could Fall in Love would go on to become some of the more popular songs from the record.
I could fall in love with you.
E! News caught up with Keith Thomas, the writer and producer of I Could Fall in Love, and he shares how the song came to be.
I received a video, a submission from Nancy Brennan, who was A&R at the label at the time. And I immediately picked up on, this girl's a star. I Could Fall in Love has a Spanish-speaking part in the middle of it, and I'm doing the demo, and I don't speak Spanish, so I'm like making up whatever come to mind. That section rolls around, and she belly laughs because obviously it's pretty funny, and so that was a moment that we connected on. It was just like we both laughed about that, and even doing the vocal, we had some good laughs about that.
During the recording, another singer had a special moment with Selena as well.
I was comping the vocal. She comes in and she says, "I'm going to fix you guys a Mexican feast." And so, of course, we were all excited about this. And this is a funny part that I'll never forget. Winona Judd was working in the B studio at the time. And I guess Winona thought she was our chef at the studio. So she walks in and asks Selena, she said, "Hey, if I buy groceries, would you mind cooking for us as well?" And Selena laughed. She said, "Of course I would." And then she said, "I just need to check with Keith to see when he's going to need me again." And she said, "What, you're the artist?" And Selena said, "Yes." And so they had a big laugh about that. We all laughed about it once I found out about it. And I've never went on to live that down.
Selena just had a knack of, you could have just met her and she'd make you feel so comfortable and like you had known her for a really long time. And then next thing you know, and I saw her do this hundreds of times, and it was with Winona Judd as well, is like, it seemed like we had all just met. And then I had walked off to go do something and I came back and they were just like, had been best friends for years. You know what I mean?
She had the ability to make you think that you could just pick up the phone and call her. She was that real, and I just think people loved her for that. And, it's one of those things where it's a tragedy. And I'm so thrilled that people still are finding her music and loving her music. There was something about her so unique. And, as authenticity is the thing today, she would have killed it today. She was as real as they get.
To this day, Dreaming of You remains the best-selling Latin album of all time. And Chris credits the fans for keeping Selena's memory alive 25 years after her passing.
I mean, the most important part is the fans, and she was super humbled and very grateful for the fans that she had when she was alive. And I'd like to thank them for everything they've done on behalf of myself and her family and my family and all of us. Just thank you very much. The songs and her performances are really important, but also the message that she carried with her and what she stood for and what she has come to represent for our culture. She was an entertainer, and as long as you're entertained and loving what she put out and what she left for us, I think that would make her smile.
There's no question Selena's legacy will live on through her music, her family, and her fans.